everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, October 16th, 2022. Nate is such a rat that he ratted himself out. No, Nate. Why'd you rat yourself out, Nate? I am so disappointed. I wanted to see him be successful. I wanted to see him take over Chancellor Winters and then become an evil dictator. Or I wanted to see him get busted. Maybe let Elena tell Devon or tell Lily or tell the whole world from the rooftop of the Grand Phoenix Hotel. Shout it to all of Genoa City. Something else, not him busting himself. Oh, I don't know about this. What is your opinion, Y&R chatters? Was this anticlimactic, or is this considered a pretty good twist? You're going to have to tell me what you think about that, because I'm voting anticlimactic. I think the whole thing happened way too fast, for one thing. I mean, we spent months building up to this climax, and I am not sure that I climaxed. Nate promised me a climax, and I expected it to be a big one. And a big one it was not. It's just so much less fun to see him do the right thing. No, thank you. I preferred bad boy Nate. Oh, and then there's also just the feeling that it all stopped short because Imani's gone. Where did Imani go? She's the one who pointed him down the primrose path, and then she wasn't even there to see him turn around and hop back down the bunny trail toward home. She just disappeared. Where is she? It kind of feels like something changed with the plot. Maybe all of a sudden, as soon as Tucker McCall came around, like Y&R pulled out on making Nate the bad guy so that Tucker could become the bad guy instead. Now Tucker gets to be the rat. Well, I mean, look, I'm left wanting. As far as the plot direction goes, but I love the acting. I'm more in love with Sean Dominic than ever. More in love with Nate than ever. I love Elena. I love these characters. I thought the acting was really superb, and all of it made for some very intense and exciting scenes. More so, honestly, the scenes between Nate and Elena and the emotional and relationship dynamics that were going on there, more than the plot. I found to be exciting because Elena's so beautiful and so passionate, and it all started out with her pleading with Nate for probably the millionth time at this point to change his mind and decide not to go through with this family betrayal. And for, again, the millionth time, Nate does not agree or does not see her perspective, doesn't understand where she's coming from. She doesn't understand where he's coming from. So Elena just finally decides, I'm out. Like, all the way out. Not only am I leaving you, but I'm leaving Genoa City. She actually went all the way to Chancellor Winters and interrupted a meeting to tell this to Nate. And, I mean, come on. We were all expecting her to bust him out in the middle of that meeting, which would have been more exciting, but at least sort of led us. It was the precursor to getting to what the climax ended up being. But I know we had to have all been thinking, like, please blow it up right here, right now. Elena, please do it. Blow Nate up in front of everyone. But no, she just pulls him out into the hallway, which Nate later argued was an interesting choice, and I agree. Why did she go all the way down there and pull him out of the meeting to tell him this and then go home and pack her bags? It did seem like she wanted to wake him up, and it was very effective. I think seeing that she was willing to say goodbye is what ultimately changed Nate's mind. Seeing that he could lose everything is what ultimately changed Nate's mind. And it was this very painful goodbye, and I was just with her all the way when she was saying, I love the man that you used to be, and the man that I know deep down inside you still are, but I don't like this new version of you, the one that only cares about playing games, as Victoria so aptly put it to Elena just before she ended up making the decision to interview for a job in Boston. She says she's going to Boston. She's leaving tonight. I went straight to the internet and Googled Brittany Sarpy and put it into Google, switched the tab over to news, filtered it for anything within the past week, got absolutely no results. That should have been my first clue to not believe that she was actually leaving. But Nate believed it. So he walked right back into the meeting and he decided to expose his own dastardly plot, expecting that doing so would make Elena fall right back into his arms. But she didn't. She didn't. He ran straight home afterwards, expecting to stop her from leaving, and she said, I'm glad you did the right thing, but I don't think that you understand why it was the right thing. I mean, you say you did it for me, but I didn't ask you to do that, and I don't think you really even get what the problem was in the first place. Nate did not see that coming at all. He thought this was going to be his Hail Mary to save his relationship with her, which frankly, over the past couple of weeks, I've started to think was just not as important to him. I don't know where the loyalty to Elena came from out of the blue. It was just in that one moment, her threatening to leave just jogged him into another world. But I died when he said to her, "You're all I have." And it's true. I mean, this whole turn in Nate's character has been so good. He has officially blown his whole life to pieces, which is so entertaining to watch. He's going to have no relationship with Elena now. He's going to have no relationship with his family. And his B-plot, Imani, is not even going to be around anymore. All he is going to have is Victoria and whatever job she decides to offer him next week in the previews. It's kind of hard to believe that Victoria is actually going to turn around and reward Nate after he blew up the plan, changed his mind. I don't know. I have a feeling that Victoria sees more in Nate than just his business acumen. Nate told Lily, Devon, Billy, and Audra that he had been meeting in secret with the CEO of another company, working with this other CEO to take over the company. But Nate refused to name who the CEO was. The real kicker, the real kick in the pants to Nate is that he never had to tell them anything. Nate could have just quietly killed the deal with Victoria and gone about his business, but he chose the messier route for our entertainment, I guess. But also, I guess, to impress Elena. I guess he thought that doing it this way would allow Elena to then validate him, maybe tell him that he's a good person after all. He maybe desperately wanted to hear something good about himself. I don't know. Tell that to Lily and Devon. They were shocked. Lily was hurt. I liked digging into her reaction, and as we've said many times, her strength really is in her reactions. She seemed maybe even more personally hurt than professionally hurt, although that's part of it too, of course. They've all been working so hard. But to be betrayed by someone who you've known since they were kids and who's your family and who you just never would have seen it coming has to hurt so badly. Devon just flew into mission mode. I mean, I was worried who he was going to punch. When Devon flies out of a room, someone might get punched in another room. But, yeah, Devon just immediately fired Nate and ran off and confronted Tucker, because surely Tucker is the mystery CEO, right? But no, Tucker was able to just tap dance right over Devon's questions like an absolute pro. Did not miss a beat, did not flinch, did not blink an eye. Oh, no, no, no. I noticed that Billy was especially enraged and very vocal about his disgust for Nate. And maybe part of that is because he saw Lily's reaction. I mean, she told Nate, "Get out." Ugh, that was so good. But Billy definitely took it to another level. And I think in all of the Chancellor Winters rigmarole that we've been talking about since, for the months that this has been building up, I think I had forgotten that this is actually Billy's family company too. His mother owns it. So it was nice to see Billy standing up and asserting himself, because he's played a secondary role. He's always made it sound like, well, now it's Lily and Devon's company now. Well, no, your mother owns the company, so it actually is your family business. So I was glad to see him finally taking it personally, and I'm sure that his rage is going to double as soon as he finds out who the real mystery CEO is. Yeah, Billy was actually the one who brought the information back to the Chancellor Winters team that Tucker had been selling off assets and stockpiling cash. So Chancellor Winters' crew was already expecting that someone was going to make a move. That's why Devon's mind immediately went to Tucker. But none of them know yet that it could have been Victoria. When Nate was deciding to kill the takeover plan and spill his guts to his family, did he even give one moment's thought to how this would affect poor Victoria? I mean, Nick had warned her early in the week that if she is thinking about going up against Tucker, then she is going to be going up against someone who sees Chancellor Winters as his birthright, and that's going to be a hard battle to win. So Victoria, not to be outdone, thinks about it, and she says, well, hold on a minute, let me think. Chancellor Winters is actually Newman Enterprises' birthright, if you think about it. Yeah, Catherine left her company to Victor, and although Jill was able to convince Victor to sell it back to her, I mean, it is what Catherine wanted. For Victor, and therefore Victoria, to run her company after she was gone. Catherine was also Victoria's godmother and her mother's best friend, so there you go. She's justified. Victoria secretly, sneakily using insider trading to take over Chancellor Winters is what Catherine would have wanted. And that's why Victoria is where she is. Oh. You know what would have been a good twist? Or at least maybe a good fake out? It would have been good if Devon would have maybe busted Victoria coming in and out of Nate's apartment. Because when Nate finally confessed the whole thing, Devon figured it all out immediately. I mean, he laid Nate's full plan out for him. Oh, you were going to use the other CEO to take it over. Then you were going to sell your shares. And then they were going to put you in charge. Is that how it was going to go down? Well, I'm pretty sure that smart Devon would have figured it out earlier if he would have seen Victoria coming in and out of Nate's apartment. Oh, and Devon figured out the whole Elena piece of it too. Oh, that's why your girlfriend left you. I mean, he had it all figured out. So if he would have seen a rival CEO hanging out at Nate's place across the hall, he probably wouldn't have known what was going on. Just when I was wondering where Michael Baldwin had went off to, he is summoned to the ranch to be brought in on Victoria's Chancellor Winter's takeover plan. I thought we were going to get a little bit more follow-up from Michael about the Ashland Locke situation, but maybe we're to the stage of never mentioning his name again. But still, Ashland allegedly had Michael held in a Peruvian jail, and Michael seemed pretty ticked off about it. But then it all just kind of petered out. I was expecting, I guess, to hear him talk a little more with some resolve on the matter, but I guess now all eyes are on to another former soap star. It's out with Robert Newman and in with Trevor St. John. Y&R seems to do that every so often. They just rotate in and out soap stars from other shows. Harmony comes to mind too. I mean, I'm sure it's a great formula for getting these really powerhouse scenes, that's for sure. And I am looking forward to seeing Michael and Tucker doing the dance. And Victor and Michael are always a great formula for some powerhouse scenes too. I think those two have a really wonderful rapport together. But, you know, I think Victor is the boss. Victor has established himself as the boss, but it's also clear that he sees Michael as an intellectual equal and certainly as an expert in his field. So Victor wants Michael to work closely with Victoria to make sure that Tucker McCall doesn't get in the way of the whole insider trading thing that Victoria is trying to work out, which of course gives us the opportunity to see Michael giving many, many disapproving looks and eternally frustrated expressions at how everyone in his life seems to so freely bend the law. Ashley is back! Yay! She is back and she texts Tucker to drop by the mansion. No, let me rephrase that. Just drive to the mansion, walk up to the front door, and ring the doorbell, please. No helicopters required. We haven't heard the end of it from the neighbors. Oh. So Tucker shows up at the door with a gift bag in hand. I was so intrigued by the gift bag that I could barely focus on the scene. The whole scene, I was just wondering, what could be in the bag? What is the gift that says, "Sorry I cheated on you a decade ago," with not one, but apparently two women? Harmony and Diane. Oh, well, then yeah, I guess you do have some apologizing to do. Oh, well, at the very end of the scene, Tucker did pull out the gift, and Ashley pulled it out, and it was that canister, which I immediately thought was one of those snake in a can practical jokes. The way the canister was shaped, I just expected Ashley to pop open the top and like 3 spring snakes to fly in her face. I would have actually been impressed with that strategy if Tucker had planned to use that to put a smile on Ashley's sourpuss face. But no. He's too calm and cool for that. And he wants her too bad for that. But Ashley just threw that gift right in the trash can for Harrison to find later. Ooh, trash toy. Hasn't anyone told that child to not go pulling things out of the trash? Ashley later brought Tracy up to speed and told her she just has no use for Tucker McCall. I mean, Ashley let him stand there and tell his whole story, and she just looked at him like, Tucker McWho? She doesn't need him. She barely blinked an eye and then sent him on his way. Later, she ended up meeting up with the Destroy Diane Club. That's Nikki and Phyllis. And Phyllis suggested that maybe it's not a bad thing that Tucker is smitten with her. Maybe Ashley should go undercover with Tucker to get the goods and prove that there is some kind of connection between him and Diane. And maybe that's what Ashley had on her mind when she showed up at the office and saw that Tucker was there, clearly not going to take no for an answer, asking her to just have one dinner with him. Just one dinner. And if you still feel the same way, then I will never bother you again. Somehow I find that hard to believe. But she agreed to it anyway. So maybe she had some plans there. I mean, Tucker ended up late to the dinner meeting, and Ashley had sat there long enough to let Jack talk her out of doing anything fun. But I am really, really loving this idea. I'm all in on the idea of Ashley going undercover and baiting Tucker into telling her something. Because first of all, it gives Eileen Davidson something to do. Something to really, really do plot-wise. Something other than just standing on ceremony as an abbot. But second, the truth is there is just something about this new Tucker McCall that makes me really look forward to seeing his downfall. The whole time that Nate was standing there confessing to Lily and Devon, Audra was just quietly in the background like, la 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 la, I don't know nothing about nothing. Oh yeah, Lily and Devon got rid of one rat this week, but there's still another one in the nest. So what are you guys thinking about Audra so far? I mean, we've seen a lot of her this week, personally and professionally. Do you like her? Do you dislike her? I know for sure that we don't trust her. She showed up in Tucker's hotel room this week. Proof positive that she is working with him, that he's using her as an insider as part of his own Chancellor Winter's takeover plan. Which means, by the way, that everything Tucker's been saying since he got back into town has at least a kernel of a lie in it, because he's been insisting that he wants nothing to do with Chancellor Winters. He's insisting that he's only there to connect with Ashley and Devon and his grandson. I think Tucker thinks that he's going to try to get control of the company for his family legacy, and I think he really wants Ashley. I think that part is genuine, but he's going about it all the wrong way. He's choosing to be sneaky rather than partnering with his family, partnering with his son. If he felt like he needed to do something to secure Chancellor Winters, then why not work with Devon? Why lie to him about it? Devon's only going to hate him when he finds out the truth. I mean, you're not going to be able to hide it forever, Tucker. Eventually, if your plan works, even at the best case scenario, everyone's going to know you were lying. And then everyone's going to know that Audra was lying too. She's never going to get invited to Noah's family Thanksgiving or Christmas this year. Which on a level, I wonder if that's what she wants. Because she was definitely tolerating Nikki. Nikki's onto the Audra Tucker connection. Noah had given Nikki a heads up that Audra was involved in the Wild Beauty Company, and that Audra had been hanging around the coffee house. So Nikki bumped into her real subtle like. And and asked her about that company she used to work for. What was it called? I can't think of it. Wild Beauty? Something like that? And Tucker McCall. Do you know him? I liked Audra's reactions because her red flags went as far up as her eyebrow. When her red flag went up, her eyebrow went up, and you could really see it. I thought it was pretty delicious to watch that scene. I liked seeing Nikki very carefully sniffing around. And I also really liked Audra being in the weird position of realizing that she is talking to both an opponent, but also Noah's grandmother. That's weird. And Noah knows Audra better than anyone. So his reaction to her tells me everything that I need to know. He pretty much said, she's a troublemaker through and through. She ran into him again at the coffee house. And I loved that Noah said to her, you know, I don't appreciate your condescending comments calling Allie cute. You know, what can you just keep your distance from me? Let me enjoy this little bit of happiness that I have found. He also said that being with her was the worst mistake he's ever made, and that feels like a big statement. I think that Noah knows more about Audra that we don't know yet, and he kind of implied that to Mariah and Tessa just a little bit, because they showed up at the club to apologize for the fact that they weren't able to attend the grand opening. This is just a quick question. Is Noah the owner of the club? Because Mariah and Tessa referred to Noah as the owner of the club. Is that true? Because I thought that Noah had pitched the idea and then was just running it on behalf of the Grand Phoenix. I didn't think that he was invested in it. Maybe, I don't know, does he own the brand, the Glam Club brand, and he's just leasing the space in the hotel? I don't get it. Well, as soon as Mariah catches wind that Noah's big, bad troublemaker ex is in town, Mariah was ready to go all big sister on her and just rush her right out of town like she was Nikki and Phyllis and Ashley trying to get Diane out or something. I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of looking forward to bossy Mariah putting her hand on her hip and getting up in Audra's face. That'll be good for a scene. But, Noah just gave some kind of vague info about Audra. It almost makes me think maybe he's protecting her. I mean, just said she was a troublemaker and not much else. And then he very quickly turned the topic to happier things, saying he's so happy with Allie that Audra's presence in Genoa City doesn't even make a difference to him at all. And besides, Allie certainly held her own with Audra this week. I liked seeing Allie call Audra out because Audra was kind of pretending to be nice, pretending like she wanted to be friends and be polite and friendly, and Allie knows, she can tell that this girl doesn't want to be her friend. She has jealousy written all over her face, and Allie said, I know what you're up to, and there is nothing that you can say that will make me question how Noah feels about me. I thought that was very good, very enlightened, very soap opera character aware of her, that, okay, the ex-girlfriend's back and she's going to try to break us up because we are in a soap opera. And I thought Audra's response to that was pretty good too, because what Audra said was, hey, yeah, you guys are happy? Good for you. I mean, I'm really glad that Noah found someone, because like me and Noah, we were just too hot. We were too hot anyway, and so we just must have burned out too quickly. But she made sure to really emphasize that there was passion there, that's what you're up against. I thought that was good, because that let Allie know exactly what kind of power Audra had, or maybe even has, over Noah. Sex power. I mean, Allie and Noah have a very healthy and supportive relationship. And when they have sex in her grandpa's house, it is making love. No, I got you. You and Audra had hot, exotic, Parisian sex. But when we have sex in my grandpa's house, we make love. Well, at least Allie knows what she's up against. Let's talk about Billy. Billy is so dynamic and so sexy. But being in a relationship with him would be so exhausting. He decided that he wanted to stop doing his passion project, the thing that was bringing him joy and positive attention, the podcast, so that he could focus on being Lily's second banana, being there to support her. That was the only thing he needed. He decided that. Not Lily, not anyone else. He decided it, he offered it, he did it. Now here we are, just a few weeks later, and he's already finding himself restless, and he wants to quit working at Chancellor Winters, leaving Lily blowing in the wind. But they can still have hot sex at home for sure. He's going to wait until after the company has gone public. And then she can pick her own new co-CEO. And he'll be gone from the company. But when she gets home, he's going to do her. That's the new agreement. Billy. I mean, if that's what you want, okay. But this is exactly where he was 100 times before. Honestly, I think I get the feeling that the viewers were irritated with the podcast. And so Y&R then pivoted to making it a co-podcast. And then they just decided, this is not working. The viewers don't like it. Let's dump it. But say what you will. The podcast was new. I think the podcast concept was cool. And it was just something that I think he did well. I think it was one of the most positive things that he's come up with in years. Billy is always someone who's struggling, always someone who's reaching. I mean, he's done various things. I'll open a bar and I'll be the bartender. I'll run this company. I'll run that company. But the podcast thing was original. It was the best he's been in a long time. And then he dumped it. And now he's unhappy again until he finds something new to throw down the hole. He and Chelsea have some things in common. Probably more than either of them care to admit. And maybe Billy and Chelsea can help each other eventually, because I like the idea of their connection. But right now it's adversarial. Billy saw Chelsea sitting in the park again, and he snapped her head right off about the conversation that she had with Johnny last week. Found it very inappropriate. But Chelsea argued to him that she's his biological mother, she's Johnny's biological mom, and that deserves some respect. And as a matter of fact, it was just a conversation. What was she supposed to do? Walk away when she saw Johnny? That would hurt him more. Well, okay, yeah. I think Chelsea makes a very sympathetic argument, especially when she's all beautiful in tears. But, I mean, the truth is, she didn't just bump into Johnny at the park. She overheard where he was going to be, and then she set it up to meet him there. So, I feel for Chelsea, but I'm not buying that she's blameless here, that she's the victim here. She heard Johnny say that he needed some space, but then she ignored it and pursued her own agenda. And Billy called her out on that. And Billy said he's worried that she's just trying to use Johnny to balance out her own life. Well, Chelsea freaked out at that statement, and she said, well, that's the same thing that Adam said about Connor. Well, if more than one person in your life is telling you the same thing, then can you at least entertain it as a possibility? This week, I am putting myself into Sally's stilettos, and I am asking myself, if I had to choose between Adam and Nick, who would I pick? And it's such a tough question, because for me, Adam is too complex, and Nick is not complex enough. I just think that the perfect man has to be somewhere in the middle. Like, with Adam, I know that I am always going to be dealing with his psychological drama. And with Nick, I know that he's gonna cheat on me. Any sexy lady who walks by and gives him love eyes, he's gonna take her to bed. Or to the lake. I loved Nick's reaction to Sally's suggestion that maybe they have a skinny dipping date in October. That sounds chilly and not sexy at all. But the reaction to it just completely and totally captured the pure essence of Nick. Sex? Skinny dipping in sex? Getting naked? Me brain no work now. He's just pure Nick in that moment. He's so charming and so adorable, and I want him to be happy. And deep down, I think what bothers me about the Nick, Adam, Sally triangle is that Sally is not Sharon. I just want to take this story and swap out Sally and make it Sharon. Because after all of the water that's flowed under the bridge between these two brothers, Nick and Adam, I mean, if they've got to go head to head over a woman, I'm looking for something deeper. I'm looking for, like, love of my life deeper. And I don't think Sally is the love of either Adam or Nick's life. I mean, Nick's only been dating her for a couple of weeks. And at least Nick realizes that whether or not it works out for them, or whether or not Sally just goes right back to Adam, either way, it's Sally's choice, and he seems fine with it either way, which is a whole lot more than what Chloe is going to give. I think Nick has learned by now that the heart wants what it wants, and if we're talking love of my life, I don't think Sally is that. And I don't think she's ever going to be that for Nick. I think Sally is a way closer match with Adam. I don't know why that is. I mean, I guess it's just they seem like a good fit. I mean, I think, well, I mean, they were together for longer, and it definitely reads as star-crossed lovers being torn apart. It kind of reads in that way. But I also think that Adam and Sally's rapport is more natural, shall we say. And yes, I realize the behind-the-scenes context there. So even though I am not passionate, I don't feel passionate about the Adam, Nick, Sally triangle, I liked what Nick had to say this week. And I'm really impressed with how Adam has upped his romance game. Like, I loved the sneaky invitation twist, because Sally was expecting a romantic date with Nick, and so when she received the invitation that was sneakily signed from N for Newman, she of course assumed that it was going to be from N Nick, and it was in fact A Adam. Adam had set up a romantic dinner on the roof of the Grand Phoenix Hotel again in October. at night, ooh, I love freezing my buns off in formal wear. But never mind that reality. It all looked so beautiful, and I certainly can't complain about getting some fresh air on the show, finally. I love our outdoor sets. And I loved the candlelight and the champagne. It looked just like the Y&R intro. All we needed was some diamonds flying around up there. I love romance. I liked the romance. I liked the dinner montage. I liked the laughs. It felt very comfortable. It felt very good. Everything was going good. And Adam and Sally were really talking. They were really being honest and really being open. But then Adam mentioned Nick, and Sally just shut down and pushed him away. What he basically said was, Nick's the rebound guy, which is true. And I could see how that would have rubbed Sally the wrong way, hearing it from Adam. Like, you don't know me. What do you know about me and Nick? You left me. I can see it. But I don't know if just the name Nick should have been enough to blow up the whole date and erase the whole dinner montage that had just happened. I guess a good steak can't fix everything. Don't judge a book by its cover. That was last week's Who Said It? Only 4 people guessed that it was Allie. I guess that was a little bit of a tough one. Don't judge a book by its cover. Well, she was talking to Noah about her nightlife in LA. Like, okay, I know I seem a little nerdy and reserved, but, you know, maybe she went out to some clubs in LA. But I also thought it was an interesting line because that's sort of what we do with Allie. We are sort of judging the book by its cover when it comes to Allie, and I'm ready to open the book. I was kind of hoping that maybe that was a little bit of foreshadowing, that when we do open the book, it's not going to be quite as close to the cover. But, wow, again, only 4 people guessed that it was Allie, so congratulations, Henry, Ron, Mary Ann V, and Brittany. Very good. I wonder if you guys heard this line. Who said this? Welcome to the Cool Kid Club. Welcome to the Cool Kid Club. Who do you think said that? Now, if you think you know, you should go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. How about a few quick comments here, starting with Gary, who says, such savoir-faire with Adam. Calligraphy, the lost art, on heavy grade paper. I got a kick out of that, Gary, because I really liked the invitation. I thought the use of the invitation, and especially Chloe playing it up, sniffing it, wanting to not hand it over. I mean, it created a nice bit of anticipation there because, well, of course, the viewers knew it was Adam. But we didn't know what Adam had planned. We didn't know that he was up there spiffing up the rooftop, just getting on a ladder, hanging all those lights, those twinkly lights up on top of the rooftop. Gary also says, I see that the rooftop garbage dump, so clean, is the very latest for both potential suicide and fine dining. Offering the only true exclusivity in town. That really also made me laugh, Gary. The idea that one could go up there, contemplate suicide, or get a good medium rare steak. I mean, that's it right there. It's the new hottest place in town, the rooftop of the Grand Phoenix Hotel. Oh, Tina B says, go Adam! This is what we want to see. Adam trying to get Sally back by wooing her instead of begging. Oh, yes, Tina B. I agree. Even though, I mean, I'm not like the gung-hoest of gung-hoers for Adam and Sally. I did love the romance, and I'm thinking of you, Tina B. I know you said you are off traveling as an insurance adjuster right now, and you've got a long road ahead of you. It sounds like you just came home from a long road, and you've got another long road ahead of you, and I'm thinking of you, and I'm glad that you can, at the end of the day, tune into your Y&R and just escape into that wonderful romance. Well, Ambrini, who is an Adam and Sally booster, says, when Sally said that she wanted to leave, I wanted Adam to say, okay, but just give me one last dance. Oh, technically they haven't even had a first dance, but then he should have said, I'll leave you with this, and then give her the best kiss of her life. That is very romantic, Ambrini. That's almost like straight out of a romance novel. Give me this one last dance. And then they dance together and he gives her a passionate kiss. Yeah. I mean, that would, I think, be enough to make anyone root for Adam and Sally versus Adam and Nick. Although, I don't know. There probably are some, I haven't heard a lot of people vocalizing a strong love for Nick and Sally. It seems like the fan base maybe more swings toward Adam and Sally. I should do a poll on that, shouldn't I? Well, I'm still holding out for Nick and Sharon. Diana says Sharon is totally jealous that Nick is with Sally. It shows all over her face. Sharon's trying to play the part of being a good friend to Nick, but it is not realistic. Nick is way too hot for Sharon to not be jealous. Sharon admitted that she can understand why Sally is attracted to him, but she was grasping at straws to think of what qualities Sally has that attracts Nick. I'm glad Y&R keeps it realistic, as it would not be if Sharon was just completely fine with him being with Sally and not having any bitter feelings toward Sally. Sharon must be cringing every time Nick mentions Sally's name while talking about his feelings for her. Okay, Diana, so I'm thinking that maybe since you're in Canada, you must be referring to something that's going to happen on the show that the U.S. viewers will get to see on Monday. So that makes me think that on Monday, we're going to have a Nick and Sharon scene, and Sharon's going to seem a little jealous, and maybe I should start to get my hopes up for the Sharon and Nick reunion that I've been waiting for the 50th anniversary of Y&R, the Sharon and Nick reunion wedding. Maybe it's coming. Oh, Kamna says, fun fact, on last Sunday's episode of Celebrity Jeopardy, there was a question featuring Doug Davidson, highlighting his long career with Y&R. The question was, what is Young and the Restless? And none of the contestants got it. But of course, I was yelling it out. Oh, how can none of the contestants have got it? I mean, soap operas were the biggest thing in the world in like the late 80s and early 90s. I mean, it was a huge, huge phenomenon. And now everybody's like, is that still on? Are soaps still around? Young and the Restless, what's that? Doug Davidson, who's he? And I mean, you should know Paul Williams' face. Anybody should know that. That's so interesting, though, that Doug Davidson came on for that episode of Jeopardy to be maybe associated around Y&R when he doesn't have much to do with it these days. Although maybe he does still do a little bit of, brand ambassadorship. He is certainly well known for it. I just don't understand why Y&R doesn't invite him back, especially around the 50th anniversary. And we're going to see Christine on Monday delivering some adoption news to Mariah and Tessa. So we've got Christine coming around. I'm pretty sure that in the continuity, she's still married to Paul. So is she going to mention Paul? Is there any chance he could just come with her one of these days? What's the problem? I guess it's just that maybe Doug Davidson doesn't want to be just a brand ambassador. He's an actor. He wants some storyline, and he wasn't getting it. Oh, well, let's leave it to Laura to get down to the chase here, saying, I'm very disappointed that Nate confessed. I wanted Chancellor Winters to be blown to Kingdom Come.
That would have been years of storylines with a greater chance of seeing Victor on screen. We'd also have the chance of watching Lily lose it. Completely lose it, I mean. Angry style. Her anger is too contained. Yeah, I agree. I think I would have rather seen the takeover be successful and then watch Lily and Devon scramble and put Nate right in the middle and then change your mind later or something. Have your change of heart later, Nate. Don't do it now. I really feel like the story changed, the plot changed. Something happened where the story got mixed up, and Y&R does that all the time, but I see it here. But I like your idea that Lily's anger is so contained and maybe she really just needs to let it out. Well, we'll see what she does as Billy continues to evolve down his path. Daisy says, I'd like to see Chelsea and Billy together. And because they're having heated discussions about Johnny, I think at some point they'll see each other in a different light. They may calm down, see each other's point, and become closer. It's also possible that will happen after Johnny needs Chelsea for something, maybe a blood transfusion after a terrible fall. In any event, I think they'd be good together, supportive, encouraging, and understanding, which both have always needed. Bonus, the holidays would be fabulous. Oh my goodness, Johnny's going to fall and need a transfusion. That is going to happen. I mean, there can be no other prediction that could be truer. That is exactly what's going to happen. He's going to need something from her, some bone marrow or something, and he's going to see her in a different light after that. But I also like your idea that Billy's going to start to see Chelsea in a different light when he kind of, maybe they bond over Johnny and they realize, okay, well, they are both the biological parents, and, you know, maybe their love can be transferred into a little family. Or I don't know. Possibilities. Tons of possibilities. There would have been more possibilities if Nate would have just kept his mouth shut. Possibilities are what's good. Allowing the plot to seep into little places that create lots of potential for future storylines. I think some of it got tossed aside for Tucker. Victoria says Ashley was so calm and classy as she listened to Tucker plead his case. He once again reminded us of his near-death auto accident. Ashley brushed it off as old, unimportant news. She never let on that she was susceptible to his charms until the tea canister. Then the viewers got a glimpse of her vulnerability. If Ashley falls for his charms, she may discover his real motive is to get his mother's company and not her. Yes, I don't think Ashley factors into his plan to take over Chancellor Winters. The Abbotts don't have anything to do with Chancellor Winters, but we did see him like flipping through photos of all the Abbotts. Why would he need to look at a photo of Tracy to take over Chancellor Winters? I think they're two agendas. I think he wants Chancellor Winters and he wants Ashley. And, you know, talking about Tucker having the real motive of getting his mother's company back, I think a good twist would be if Ashley got a hold of his mother's company. Wouldn't that be something? If Tucker just puts all this effort into trying to do the takeover and then someone else comes in and scoops it away from him, and surprise, it's Ashley. Well, Victoria also says, chatters have questioned why Diane is in the back of a Bentley, why her being in the back of a Bentley is such a big deal. I think it could be a big deal if Diane was sent to spy on the Abbotts. She continues her mantra, I've done everything on my own and I've changed. This could prove that she's been lying and Tucker has been bankrolling her. He also may have been helping her get intel on Allie. And since the Abbotts so despise Tucker, this could cause a rift in Diane's new relationship with them. Jack seems especially upset with Tucker. Thus, the ground Diane has gained with Jack could soon be turned to quicksand. Yes, we're seeing Diane start to sense that too. She went to Jack's office this week and told him that she's very concerned about Tucker. And it definitely feels like Diane knows that the walls are closing in and she's trying to lay a little bit of groundwork with Jack, knowing that the ground is about to fall out from under her with quicksand, as you say. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Diane is lying. I mean, it's a tiny lie. To me, it doesn't seem like, from everything on the surface, doesn't seem like a huge lie. But it's not the honesty that she keeps telling everybody that she's 100% about. She would never do anything. She would never be underhanded. I'm telling the absolute 100% truth and everything, all the truth. And 100% all. I have no secrets. None. Absolutely none. I'm a complete open book. Is what she's selling. And it's not true. It doesn't seem like a huge deal, but like you said, she could have been spying. We don't know exactly what Diane did for Tucker. I think that's still to be revealed. Sherrod says, I wonder if the character of Jeremy Stark, being played by James Hyde, will be the man with the Bentley that Diane was actually riding in. His first air date is scheduled for Friday, October 21, 2022. Just a thought. I saw that there's going to be a new man in town. He looks good looking. I only saw one photo of him, but I was like, okay, all right, yeah. Good looking new guy. And you're right. Maybe the Bentley connection has nothing to do with Tucker. Maybe it has more to do with this other guy. We'll find out next week on Friday. Well, Daisy says, I'm confused about how Tucker is related to Chance Chancellor. I know he's the biological grandfather of Dominic, but he's not in the Chancellor line, or am I missing something? Before she was married to Philip Chancellor, Catherine Chancellor was married to Gary Reynolds, and they had Brock Reynolds. Oh. At some point during her marriage to Gary, Catherine had an affair with Arthur Hendricks, and they had Tucker McCall, who they gave up for adoption. Tucker had a relationship with Yolanda Hamilton, and they had Devon Hamilton. Tucker was not in Devon's life, and with Yolanda having drug issues, Devon got in trouble with the law. That's when Neil and Drusilla adopted him. So, Devon's not in the Chancellor line. Is it because Tucker's grandson is? I need a chart. Yeah, we talked about that last week. That maybe they're like same family, but not same bloodline. I don't know. I need a chart too. But you may be right, because Chance is Philip's son, and Philip is Jill and Philip's son. So that's that lineage. And Tucker is Catherine and some other dude, Arthur Hendricks. So yeah, maybe they're not blood related, but they're all in the House of Chancellor, I guess. We do need a flow chart. Oh, speaking of Tucker, I asked you guys last week what you think about new Tucker. 66% of you give him a thumbs up. Just 34% of you giving new Tucker the thumbs down. Henry voted thumbs up for new Tucker, but with reservations. I like his humor. He's quite different from the original Tucker. He has to grow on me a little. I could actually understand or foresee a recast in the future, which is why I base my reservations on. I would like to see more of a balance of humor and villain, I guess. If memory serves, the former actor lacked the humor, but truly made a great Tucker McCall, in my opinion. Yeah, I noticed that new Tucker finds everything a little funny. He's very subtle. I mean, his whole delivery is just very understated. He's a little sleepy. He just seems almost just a little tired and relaxed. He's so relaxed, and yet he does seem to exude a sense of humor, or that he sort of looks at everything with a smug sort of, which Stephen Nichols Tucker did not really do as much. Tony says William Russ, the first Tucker, was the perfect Tucker McCall. He even looked like Catherine, and his accent originated darlin'. In my opinion, Stephen Nichols' portrayal of Tucker was not believable. Trevor St. John will be a good Tucker, though, although I don't agree with Y&R's decisions to make characters younger than their history would allow. I could see him with Allie or Abby, maybe Chelsea, but I can't picture him with Ashley or Jill or Diane or Gasp Phyllis. So I voted yes. That's funny, Tony. I saw a couple people commenting about his age, about Trevor St. John's age. He looks younger. He really does, but I looked it up. He's 51. And Brighton, I also looked that up. I want to say he was 36. So there's maybe 15 years between them. So Tucker would have had to have gotten Yolanda pregnant at 15, which could happen. I mean, it's at least within the realm of possibility. But he does read younger than he is. I'll tell you,
who I think Tucker's going to be paired with is maybe Victoria. Yeah, I guess it looks like it could be Nate, but I just think that Victoria and Tucker are going to be battling over Chancellor Winters, and that's probably going to lead to love. Also, I just kind of feel like it was out with Robert Newman's Ashland and in with Trevor St. John. We're just going to pop him right into Victoria's life. Well, Robbie says, I love this Tucker so far, even more than the previous actor. This actor is so relaxed and natural. He seems like a real person. However, I do think the writing is a little lazy. All the characters are treating him like a villain, but I don't remember him being hated before he left Genoa City. He cheated on Ashley, so I guess he's a monster? I guess it's kind of like Diane faking her death, so now she's a monster too? Gosh, relaxed and natural is a great way of describing Trevor St. John. It's totally true. Sue W. says Trevor St. John reminds me of Michael Mooney. I can't pinpoint why, but he does. I think this is great, because I see that too. I think it's the slow, sort of understated, smug, sort of sneer. I'm sort of looking at you all with a light amusement. I'm not too invested. I'm not going to get too worked up over it. I'm just here. I'm just here to mess with you. I think that's what it is, and maybe that's how Michael Mooney's Adam was a little bit more. Like, I'm here to just mess with you. With a light sense of humor and a real relaxed vibe. Ellen says Tucker's charm is working on me, but this is feeling a lot like Ashland number 1 and 2. Don't screw this up, Y&R. It could be great to have Ashley back and see Tucker chasing her around Genoa City. Let's not have Tucker get all embroiled in Genoa City life and then just write him out by next summer. Oh my goodness, that's exactly how I've been feeling too. It feels like a weird Robert Newman, like, wormhole or something. Like, they just took him out, put Trevor St. John in, and I hope that he does not share the same fate. That's what Y&R does, though. They rotate in these other soap stars, maybe to draw in viewership for a little bit, and then they're done with them and they bring in a different one. I don't know, but I agree. Can we stick with this, please, and not just write him out? Get him in a relationship and then just kill him for ratings in the next fall or the spring sweeps, whatever. Oh, last note, I want to say a quick happy birthday to T. Nicole, whose birthday is October 19th. Now, last year at this time was Victoria and Ashland's, I think it was Tuscany wedding, right? Which I'm always going to associate with T. Nicole's wedding, because she was getting married at the same time as Victoria and Ashland last year, and now your birthday is now October 19th. So there's always going to be a parallel in my mind there for you, T. Nicole. You and your husband are like Victoria and Ashland, although, that's probably not a good omen. Now, okay, here's how you can save it. T. Nicole, if your husband asks you to sign any documents that makes him the co-CEO of your family's company, then just say no, because it would be all downhill from there. Okay, everybody. I gotta get going. My daughter's sick again. What is this? I've gotten sick more this year than her and me, because I'm preemptively saying I'll be sick now. If she's sick, I'll be sick. But why does that ever go away? She's 5. Am I doomed to get sick like 4 times a year for the rest of my life? I never got sick before her, and now I'm sick all the time. So other mothers, tell me, when will this go away? When can I just live my life without a runny nose? Ever? Or am I doomed to Kleenexes forever? I don't know. Go to yrchat.com and tell me what you think about that. Tell me what you think about the show. Vote in the poll, and then come back next Sunday and we'll chat about it all again. I love you guys, and I hope you have a good week. Happy fall. Bye.